Morning assembly, the start of the school day, and the only time some of my students won't open their mouths. I guess I can understand where they're coming from. The words come so naturally that I don't always pay attention to what I'm saying either. But really, sometimes I wonder, what does being Singaporean mean to my students? I try so hard to help them figure this out for themselves, but at times, it can feel like such an uphill battle. The older they get, the more they tend to see NE as propaganda, even if they don't really know what that means. I must admit that every now and then, I can't help but feel that way too. The messaging can seem rather top-down and one-sided. Nonetheless, my students seem eager to know more about certain issues concerning Singapore and the world. And they want to discuss these topics in the classroom. Though, to be honest, I'm not sure if we're even allowed to discuss such things in class. What if I say something wrong? What if things get out of hand? Will I get in trouble? Oh well, despite all this, I'm still very heartened to see that my students are eager to connect with others, to share their stories, and contribute to their community. They want more choice, and to be able to take ownership of what they learn and what they can do in NE. That can't be a bad thing, can it? Taking all of this into account, I wonder if NE can be approached differently to cater to the needs of this current generation. Maybe let's begin with the end in mind. What do I aspire for my students to come away with at the end of their NE journey? For starters, I hope they will develop a sense of belonging, understanding who they are and what makes them Singaporean. Knowing that even though they are young, they are an important part of something bigger than themselves, and believing that Singapore will always be their home, wherever they may be. Secondly, I hope for my students to come away with a sense of reality. Our children need to know that the world can be a volatile and complex place. They must understand the various contexts surrounding our nation, the limitations and possibilities that we face, as well as the lived experiences of those around them. Thirdly, I want my students to come away with a sense of hope, with the belief that we have the power to shape our future, the resilience to meet the challenges that lie ahead, and the courage to turn adversity into opportunity. Last but not least, from the sense of hope, reality, and belonging, I desire for them to develop a will to act, to be inspired and determined to come together to build a Singapore for everyone to flourish in. These are my heartfelt hopes for my students, for them to take away not just a set of messages or experiences, but for them to discover for themselves what Singapore and being Singaporean truly mean to them. Perhaps it's time to look at NE again with fresh eyes. How can we make it real? How can we make it relevant? And how do we make NE resonate with our young?